Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The reality that we speak of was classified into 3 brackets. The Satyam, truth or reality, we classify them into 3. Pratibhasika Satyam, then Vyavaharika Satyam, and Paramarthika Satyam. Satyam is classified into 3 sections. The truth. Whatever you experience is your truth. Isn't it? So that is classified into 3. One is Pratibhasika Satyam. Pratibhasika Satyam means that which is real only to you. Example, I'm not going into the details of it, okay? Just giving very basic idea. Example is dream. The dream that you have when you sleep is real only to you. Isn't it? The person who is sitting next to you doesn't see that. It is real only to you. That is called Pratibhasika Satyam. Then Vyavaharika Satyam is which is experienced, which is known to all of us. Like now, I am sitting in front of you, you are seeing me or you are hearing me. It's not only you are hearing, the person who is sitting next to you also hears. Assuming they have proper ears and eyes, which is called as Vyavaharika Satyam. Then the third one is absolute reality. When you apply that strict definition of truth, reality, we find only this Paramarthika Satyam fitting into it. What is a test of reality? That which has existed in the past, which is existing in the present, which will continue to exist in the future without any change. There was never a point when it was not there. When it is not there. That is called absolute reality. Paramarthika Satyam. Brahman or Atman or consciousness, God, what a layman falls into that category. Now, the problem is Arjuna is seeing the vision, the cosmic form. Right? Now, this falls into which category? You cannot call it as absolute reality, nor can you call it as Vyavaharika Satyam. Why? Because fellow kings are all not seeing it. Only Arjuna is seeing. Oh, therefore, can we call it as Pratibhasika Satyam? That is also not possible. Why? Because he himself says, not only me seeing, all the Devas were all seeing, Gandharvas were seeing, Siddhas were seeing, Yakshas were seeing, even Asuras were seeing. So many people were seeing. May not be these people seeing, but they are all seeing. Pratibhasika Satyam should be only to you. Remember, no one else. Now here, fellow human beings are not seeing. Those who are standing around him are not seeing. But then he says, others are seeing, I'm able to see that, he says. So you can't call it as Pratibhasika Satyam also. You can't categorize this cosmic vision as something like hallucination. Another example of Pratibhasika Satyam is hallucination. You can't call it as hallucination, nor can you call it as, transactional reality, nor can you say it is absolute reality. Then what sort of experience is that? Can't categorize into any one of the known divisions. You have to create a new category for this. That is why there is Ascharya. Since he is not able to, see, intellect is should be able to process it, you see. This experience of Arjuna is not able to process it. Sanjaya also not able to process it. That is why both of them were experiencing wonderment. Why Ascharya? For both of them is because intellectually they are not able to categorize it, comprehend it. Comprehension means categorization. You are able to put it across. Yeah, this belongs to this belongs to this is it. Whether you agree or you don't agree is not the issue. You are able to comprehend it, you see. Now this experience, you can't call it as this, you can't call it as this, you can call it as that. Then what do you call it as? Because we know only three chances are there, three possibilities. There is no fourth. Now suddenly, one experience of there falling into the category of the fourth. Therefore, there is wonderment. How to conceive this? Look at the description. I see you without beginning, middle, end. There's neither a beginning. You can't call it as middle because something middle can be fixed only based on the beginning and end, isn't it? Somewhere in the middle, we to say that. I'm somewhere in middle for you to claim. You should know your origin and destination. Where are you when someone asks? I'm stuck in between. If you are going to New York, if you are stuck in Hebbal flyover, you don't call it as I'm stuck in between. Isn't it? You know what? On the way, my starting point is this, my end point is this. Now he is not able to decipher which is the beginning, which is the end. Therefore, he is not able to say this is the middle part. He's not able to visualize anything. And he's not able to comprehend the power of it. What is the power of that? He is not able to comprehend. He's not able to realize anything. So, he says, one eye is the sun, another eye is the moon. Now, how will you visualize the face? Face with two eyes, correct? One eye sun, one eye moon. Every 15 days, one eye will go off, isn't it? What position he is speaking, what he is referring to. From 19. And then what happens is, from there, the dynamic changes keeps happening. And he starts seeing that form as the creator, maintainer, and destroyer. Right? So when he is seeing God as a creator and when you see God as a maintainer, there is no problem. Okay. Those two facets of God, all of us can understand and appreciate, we enjoy. Oh, God is there to take care. He will take care of us. The thought is very satisfying, comforting, gives you strength for you to live. Imagine God says, I am here to destroy. How comforting that will be. This aspect, we always take destructive facet is not belonging to God, that belongs to demon, Asura. God is all good and demon is all bad. And for all of us, something getting destroyed is what? Loss is what? But all of us write accounts as what? Profit and loss account. The very fact that you are writing an account by the name profit and loss, which means what? There will be loss as well. But how many of us proudly come out and say loss? When you go and play a cricket match or any match for that matter, there's always only two chances are there. Either you will win or you lose. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Why we are not able to walk normal when you lose? I'm not saying you should jump with joy, laughing and coming, after losing. A losing team cannot be coming with all laughter, not allowed. But at the same time, what we have to understand, it's part of the game. Why you get dejected? Because our mind is incapable of digesting loss, destruction, death. You can't digest it. It is not possible. Now, in that cosmic form, Arjuna is not seeing only the creative side of the God. God as the maintainer, the one who maintains the order. He sees the destructive side of the God also. And the problem is, he sees the destructive side of the God, and the blunder he makes is, he gets fixated to that. Once he gets fixated to that, one, fear comes. You can't escape. That's what is happening to Arjuna now. Initially, he sees the form. He is not able to comprehend it, as a result of which there is wonderment, Ashcharya. And then he continues to see that form, and he sees very many aspects of God. What are the aspects of God? There are three things: creation, maintenance, destruction. These three. There are other two, they say, which we are not referring here. It is not for common man. Other two aspects of God and all is meant only for advanced individuals, seekers, not for a common man. As far as a common man is concerned, it's only three. Arjuna is a common man. Common man, when I say, what I mean is not like you and me. Okay. He is far superior. Comparison to us, he is far superior. But he is not a Upanishadic student. For a person like Upanishadic student, God has 5 things. And they don't concentrate on the first 3. They dismiss the first 3. They concentrate on the 4th and 5th aspect of God. Veiling and revealing. These are the other two aspects. Their focus is for them. those seekers, not for him. So he sees only three: creation, maintenance, destruction. So when he saw creative side of God, he was fine. When he saw the maintenance aspect, pleasant it is. Nice to see. It's like they make it very clear in the beginning, in the poster itself, it's a horror movie. You buy the ticket. You go and sit. That too, you go in the second show. And then get horrified. What do you tell that fellow? Why? Because you chose to see that, isn't it? Same way, God has all those aspects, right? Where you are keeping your mind focused and fixated to will define what sort of a response, what sort of a reaction it will create in you. Arjuna's eyes goes and gets fixed with the destructive side of God. Right? Obviously. Why? Because of a situation. Don't say Arjuna is a destructive person. Okay. Arjuna is not a destructive type. Arjuna is not a violent person, remember. He is not a man of violence. Even during the dice game, when Draupadi was attempted for derobing her and all that, Arjuna was not making any vows. He is keeping quiet. Bhima takes the vows on behalf of Arjuna. See, Yudhishthira also keeps quiet. He is also not taking any vows. You see, Bhima is the one who is angry. Even at that point, Arjuna was not angry. In fact, Bhima gets angry even with Yudhishthira. You have any brains, you idiot. Arjuna pacifies Bhima. Very interesting. You can't say Arjuna is a violent person, therefore he sees that. It's not that, remember. It is that situation. Once the FIFA World Cup starts, all of us will be discussing, entire newspaper will be, sports column will be with reference to what? India, New Zealand or FIFA World Cup. Whose pictures will come? Hardik Pandya? No. Only the pictures of Messi will come, Ronaldo will come, teams about Croatia team. You won't even know where the country is. Cameroon. I've never heard of where the country was actually. When they played against Argentina, this is the first time I heard that country name. Cameroon. I know how many of you know where that country is in the map. If I show the gold globe and say, point out Cameroon. Okay. Where you will go, you don't. Countries unknown. They come in. Why? Why that gets occupied? Because that is the in thing right now. Same way, they are standing in the battlefield. So when they are standing in the battlefield, where will be his focus? War. War means what? Destruction. So the moment he saw that facet of God, obviously he will focus on that. And obviously when you focus on the destructive side of God with an unprepared mind, The mind which is not matured enough where to see the destructive side, it cannot digest it, particularly from God. Because our belief is what? God should not be the one who is destroying everything. As far as we are concerned, we have a very clear agenda. We are very clear portfolio being given to God. What is that we have given? Maintain. Your job is to maintain. I will create so many things, but you are supposed to maintain all that. I will create, unnecessary relationships. I create a business. I start something. And now God has to ensure that I get contracts. God has to ensure that, my, relationships are all going good. My family is protected. All that is the job of God now. Isn't it? Now, suddenly God says, no, my job is not that. Actually, my job is to destroy your business. What will happen? You can't digest that dimension of God. So obviously, what will happen? Butterflies will start flying in the stomach. That fear will come. See, that's what is happening to Arjuna. So from now you will see, we are seen up to 19. 20 we have done, no? Yeah, 20 we have done. So from 21, slowly we see that fear mounting in Arjuna. And you will see that why that fear is mounting, more that fear, more he keeps seeing. It's feeding one another. More he sees the destructive side, more the fear comes. More the fear comes, more he gets fixated to that. It's so interesting. See, this adventure sports, they go, the roller coaster and all that. Those who go in that roller coaster, when they come out after that roller coaster ride, when they come down, they say there are certain chemicals secrete in the brain, which creates a particular feeling. You feel something because of that secretion of those chemicals. Therefore, they feel so pleasant, so joyful with that. Therefore, what those people do is they go more. They go more for that. They go more for. Same way here, it's a weird one here. It's a ulta here, exactly opposite. Opposite is what? More he sees that one, a fear gets triggered. When the fear comes, what you are supposed to do? Take your eyes off, no? What do we do? You will attempt to take your eyes off, but still what you do? Every horror movie you have seen that, no? Every time that Halloween, a fellow chases, this lady will always run into a place where nobody is there. Or she'll run into a place where there is no light. And her belief is what? If I cannot see him, he cannot see me. And then do what? You have gone and hiding. Simply go and hide, no? Not do. From there, they will keep peeping out and checking. And that's the time he catches them. Why you do all that? You cannot take your eyes off. It is not possible. You look at that, it triggers fear. Sensible thing to do will be what? Look at the pleasant side, no? No. You will look more. You look again. When you look again with that this destructive side, what happens? More fear. One feeds the other. You see the destructive, fear. More the fear, more you will see the destructive side. Now you'll say, why he is seeing the destructive side? Because there is a situation in which there is death. Round the corner, there is death for him. Maybe he's so scared, that's why he's asking Krishna to talk more. Maybe. Because so long as they are talking, nobody will shoot. Because those days, very, unbelievable culture we had in this country. No country in the world would have had rules for war. Imagine Ukraine and Russia, before starting the war, they had a discussion and said, these are the rules. Okay. This things you do, this things I do. This is how the war is going to be. You fight this, I fight this. I use these missiles, you use these missiles. These things I don't use, you these things you don't use. Nothing. And we call ourselves as cultured. Weird one. I don't know who is cultured. Those people cultured or we are cultured. Where they had rules. Till that, because in the beginning, if you remember, in the first chapter, they have already started blowing the conch, the drums, which means almost the war is started. That is a time when they see these two fellows standing and talking. The entire army is waiting. And a modern man cannot conceive it because of his grossness. Because of our grossness, we are not able to understand it. You say, you think, how is that possible? No, it is impossible. Who will wait? Who's going to wait? No, he's busy doing that work. Let him finish that and come, and then let's fight. Who will wait like that? When you are focusing on something else, is the right time to attack you. Now, remember, it is not only Pandavas were waiting, even Kauravas were waiting, including Duryodhana. Unbelievable. They're waiting. Death is imminent. There's no guarantee. Right? Obviously, such a person, when he sees death, his focus will go to that, isn't it? Who will focus on that? Situation forces him to look at that direction. And that triggers fear. Because of that fear, he sees more of it and more of it. And then collapses. From 22 onwards, we will see that. It's beginning from 2022. 21 onwards, it starts. You will see that visible things you will see there. From 23, it becomes too obvious. It's a very subtle indication in 20. If you are smart, you will see in 21. From 21 onwards, subtle. In 22, it is quite visible. If you are little alert, you can recognize it. From 23, it becomes obvious. From 23 to 30, only that. So 21, 22, 23. What you have to see is this. Rest are all details only there in those verses. Yes. Veiling. One is covering. One aspect. Other two aspects of God is he does two more jobs. One is covering. Why covering and all this is a different equation. Okay, now we don't worry about all that. Another thing he does is he covers. Then he is the one who reveals also. So to put it across in a simple language, the one who puts you into samsara is done by him only. And who is going to take you out of samsara is also him only. So what are we becomes almost impossible for you to understand it. This is why these two aspects were not discussed with general. Generally, these two aspects are not specific. Only three things they will talk: creator, maintainer, destroyer. That's it. Other two are the main ones. So those two will, as we go along, we'll see later. When you go in the detail is coming in the later. It's not that it is not there. It is there. 13th chapter we will see. So you got to wait. Till 13th chapter, you got to wait there. Right. 21.
Amihi tvam surasangha vishanti kechid bhitah pranjalayo grinanti swasti tyuktva maharshi siddha sanghaha stuvanti tvam stutibhi pushkalabhihi Amihi tvam surasangha vishanti kechid bhitah pranjalayo grinanti swasti tyuktva maharshi siddha sanghaha stuvanti tvam stutibhi pushkalabhihi.
Verily, into you enter these hosts of gods. Some in fright extol you with joined palms, may it be well. Thus saying, bands of great sages and siddhas, perfected ones, praise you with beautiful hymns. Now, praise you with beautiful hymns, what is, Pushkalabhihi, he says. Pushkalabhihi means, the beautiful. Stuti, hymns. With beautiful hymns, he is referring to the Vedic chantings. Those who chant the Vedic mantras, chanting that. Beautiful. And not only beautiful, it is meaningful praise. Sometimes, we praise people without any meaning in that. There's no meaning into the praise, actually. A fellow first time, standing for, local election, corporator. The fellow puts a poster, future prime minister. Something like that. There's no meaning in that, praise. You are the bright future of our country. The corporator election is not even elected, actually. How can you put that fellow to a position of it doesn't give any meaning in that, you see, like that. No, these hymns have a deep meaning. That meaningful, beautiful hymns, these people keep singing the praise. They have the stuti, that praising it. Who are those people? Who are they? The sages and siddhas. Follow the thread carefully. It's not only Arjuna seeing the form. He says, who are all seeing? All those Gandharvas and Yakshas and Rudras and Adityas and also Asuras. Right? Verse 18, he has already referred the list. In the list, he includes even the Asuras were seeing. Those people are also seeing. Along with that, he said there are some rishis and the siddhas, siddha purushas. Even those people, the perfected ones, they are also seeing the cosmic form. They were also entering. So who are all, everyone is entering into it. In that, he says, in the hosts of people who are all seeing, he says, I'm able to see two groups in that. One class of people who glorify you and enter you. Another group is there who are terrified and enter. Both are entering. All of them are seeing. They are all seeing and entering. Okay. He says, of that, I am able to see two groups. One set of people who are all going in with fear. Another group of people who are walking into it in full praise. Means they are pleased. They are very happy. So one set of people who look at it were happy, peaceful. Another set is terrified and frightful. Now the question will come. Okay, there are two groups. Now, Arjuna, to which group you are going to join? Like, are you going to attend the class through Zoom or through Clubhouse? And chances are there, no? Option is there, no? Like that. Now, how are you going to do? At least here we have a choice. Sir, first I have to decide, should I join? Now, in this case, you are not given a choice. You have a choice only what? To enter, not to enter, no choice. You have a choice to enter happily or enter terrified. Only two chances are there for you here. You have to enter. Where they enter, Arjuna is seeing the entire form, assuming it as a human form. Okay, that's how the description is. Many hands, many legs, many stomachs, many this, many that, all that. No, he said, of all that, Arjuna's fixation, or Vyasa portrays that only one aspect of it he is taking and talking. That is the mouth. All other aspects were ignored. What is the mouth? Remember, mouth represents Kala Tattva. Right? Mouth is a representation of Kala, time. The time devours everything. Everything gets consumed by time. Kala. That's the representation. Everything enters into his mouth. Means that's what it means. Means everything gets consumed by time. Do you have a choice? Do you have a choice to stop the time? You can stop the clock. That is possible. You can destroy the clock. Your wall clock you can destroy, your wristwatch you can destroy, but destroying the wall clock or destroying your thing or tearing that calendar. Sometimes, that daily sheet calendar. Sometimes by mistake we tear, 2-3 sheets together. That doesn't mean from Sunday you have jumped into Wednesday. You have to follow. There's no other option. Nothing can be done. Only option we have is what? To get into the time, into that future with two attitudes. Either you have the fear of future or you are peaceful. You make peace with future. How you make peace with future? Praising the hymns. Meaningful, not a meaningless one. You see that? Meaningless one will be what? Pessimistic. You're entering into future. Allah fate, sir. Nothing can be done. There's no meaning in that. You see, that's a meaningless praise. Meaningless understanding. No, that is not what is referred here. What is referred here is those perfected ones, the joint palms, they say, Whatever is happening for good. With understanding, not as a mechanical philosophy. That's why it is referred as they praise with beautiful hymns. Beautiful in the sense, understanding is, beauty is only when there is a meaning in it, isn't it? And there is no meaning. There's no beauty there. You know that in one art gallery, one fellow dropped his handkerchief. In the corner when he was walking around, he dropped the handkerchief and went away. There's a huge crowd standing around that taking pictures. So what an artistic one. And that fellow came searching for his handkerchief. He said, check, move. Yeah, he picked it up and walked out. Only then these people understood what is it. In that art gallery, that's a problem, you know, because we believe everything in that art gallery has a hidden meaning in that. Actually, this need not be. Unless you are able to recognize. Now that same handkerchief, you know, lying on the, hotel lobby, no one will, even look at it, isn't it? You will simply walk. You will just walk over that. Same, you can see that beauty only you start seeing a meaning there. You see a meaning. That's why when you see that some of these modern arts, they call it as abstract, which means nobody understands the meaning of it. Yeah, what is the meaning? Mr. Bean, he made a movie where by mistake, they take him to be a specialist in that arts. Fellow is taken and he goes and give a lecture about the painting also. And people stand there, all great fellows are standing there and everybody clapping. That's one of my favorite movie, only for that scene. And that guy, of the best actor we have seen, Mr. Bean. I think he's the only real character made a cartoon. I think he's the only one, the real man made into. Otherwise, we have Spider-Man, it's not real, it's not fiction. Spider-Man, Superman, and all that we have. Tom and Jerry. Nowhere you will find a Jerry like that. There's no one is there. It's all imagination. But Mr. Bean, unbelievable. And he gives that lecture, and his body language and all that you see. One side is hilarious, other side is so philosophical. He just says, it's a good painting. Whistleblower. That's a whistleblower. This is the name for the painting. One old lady there and some, painting. I don't remember exactly the painting, but the scene was something superb to see. The mother. Here he starts talking about his mother. No connection. He is an old lady's picture and he's talking about mother actually. And then they say, my God, everybody, standing ovation. Only then I understood. Anytime you give a lecture, if there is a standing ovation for your lecture, what does it mean? Not a fellow understood a word of what you're saying. Everyone is interpreting it in their own way. Remember, beauty means you see a meaning. Without a meaning, it is impossible to perceive beauty. That's why he calls it as a beautiful game. Very pregnant with meaning. So many layers and layers of meanings available for these verses. That's why I said must be referring to the Vedic hymns only. So beautiful it is. The Shakespeare's plays, how many fellows have written papers on just one play, Macbeth. They just take that one play, Macbeth. People have got PhDs in it. Rows and material after material after material. And fascinating to see why Shakespeare did not mention the name of Macbeth's wife throughout the play. Nowhere name was given to her. What is she referred as? Lady Macbeth. Lady Macbeth. Why she is referred as Lady Macbeth? Fascinating. So consciously must have done that. Otherwise, it is not possible for that to be kept as classic. Much of thinking must have gone into it. Maybe it is so effortless as far as Shakespeare is concerned. But for us, then you mean to say he cannot give a name to her? Huh? So many names are there. Can't he give one name for that lady? Everywhere reference is what? Lady Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Lady Macbeth. Why? You see the whole thing in a different angle there. Because if you see that entire play, I don't know how many of you have read that play. If you have not read it. The entire plot will be, it is Lady Macbeth who has corrupted the mind of Macbeth to kill Duncan, the king. Isn't it? That's how the plot will be. But what Shakespeare is attempting to say there is, Lady Macbeth is not having her own personality. Who is she? What is she? She is just the image of that same fellow. So therefore, it is actually the, what they call alter ego. What? Alter ego, no, that term they use. She is just the image. His own, all of us say, no, there is good in you, there is bad in you. You're together. Now, the avarice, the greedy aspect of Macbeth, externally personified, is Lady Macbeth. Now, how you see that play? Just that one I'm saying. Like this, we can go on unearthing, aspect after aspect after aspect. The witches who appear. This. So many layers, you see. That is why more and more you hear. Same way, classical music. I don't, musicians, they say, sir, I keep listening to that Todi Raga of this man, T.R. Rajaratnam. Oh, Dhanammal violin, Veena. That Briga of GMB or MLV. I think I would have heard that Sahana Raga about few hundred times. Same song. What do you listen there for 200 times, 300 times in that? Because every time you listen to it, that musician is able to see a particular aspect, which is what is referred as meaningful. That's where beauty is. So remember, wherever you say beauty, it means meaningful. So engaging. One group of people are entering there, peaceful. Another group is entering choicelessly terrified. Now let's see what Arjuna is going to do. 22.
रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्याः विश्वेश्विनौ मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्घाः वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्याः विश्वेश्विनौ मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्च गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्घाः वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे.
The Rudras, Adityas, Vasus, Sadhyas, Vaishvadevas, Ashwins, Maruts, Ushmabas, and hosts of Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras, and Siddhas, all these behold you quite astonished. Just giving the list for all seeing. He's not including, I am astonished. Right? You can see that clearly here. Great souls are looking at this form for the matured jivas. They were all appreciating it. Understood is what? To appreciate God in his totality, you need maturity. When you're lacking maturity, you cannot appreciate God in totality. And the most interesting part in this verse is he is including Asuras also in that category. It's the best part of it. It says even Asuras are also seeing, quite astonished. The Pitru Devatas, they were also astonished. The list and all we have seen earlier, so I'm not repeating all that. What is that, Rudras, Adityas, all that we have seen earlier. So he's only repeating that. He is only reconfirming what is stated earlier. 23.
रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रम् महाबाहो बहुबाहुरुपादम् बहुदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालम् दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्यथितास्तथाहम् रूपं महत्ते बहुवक्त्रनेत्रम् महाबाहो बहुबाहुरुपादम् बहुदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकरालम् दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्यथितास्तथाहम्.
Seeing your mighty form with many mouths and eyes, many arms, thighs, and feet, many stomachs, many terrible tusks. O Mahabaho, the worlds are terrified. So am I. It's nothing but, pakate alaki paisam. Say. You go for feast, the fellow will be serving. And if I want paisam, I will not ask. I'll say, you want paisam? Yeah. He'll say, yes. Then with, loud, I'll call, hey, come here. You want paisam? And the fellow will come. அப்படியே இங்கேயும். That's exactly what he's doing here. Oh, Mahabaho, the worlds are terrified. The whole world is there. Everybody is terrified. Quietly he says, I am also terrified. Obviously, imagine, no, even those who paint, that Vishwarupa, they cannot paint as described here. Not possible. Why? No one can paint it. Because you will see them painted as what? Many heads you would have seen, many hands you would have seen, many things you would have seen. Nowhere you would have seen many stomachs. Has anyone painted? Many stomachs, have you seen Vishwarupa painting? Why? It won't look nice. Isn't it? The painter can't, imagine. Now, how can you paint? Or else what they do is they just make more beings with different heads. That's about it. They cannot make it as, one being has many stomachs, many legs. It looked like an, insect. Insect also has, one stomach only. Many legs may be there. Many legs it has, but then one stomach. But he says many stomachs. How can you conceive this? I'm terrified, he says. Why? Because can't even picturize this. What is it? Very difficult. See, the problem for this issue he has is, you conceive, you understand anything only with what you know already. Isn't it? Anything new you see, you always try to comprehend that new only with what you know. Isn't it? That's why you see those movies, we depict aliens also as what? Aliens also as humans only. They will also be looking like. Only thing is what? They look ugly. That's the only thing. I don't know why. Nowhere I have seen, aliens coming, in a very beautiful way. All aliens look ugly. They don't look better than us. But they have all advanced things they will have. But they look, black. Terminator. Aliens, advanced one. A mission now. Just a robot, that's about it. Advanced robot. Now, who are the fellows who created that advanced robot? Even this avatar is on. Even in that avatar also, I can't understand why they need to have a tail there. Huh? Why they need a tail? It's impossible for us. But then what is interesting is they have to have that human touch. Somewhere down the line, we cannot conceive anything without it. It's not possible. Even in our creative aspects also. There is this, and the interesting part is, if a child were to see that movie Predator, get scared. Adult, and like a horror movie. Horror movie also, there is a way of watching it. Mute it and watch. Have you ever tried? Evil Dead movie, mute it. So the fear is coming from where? Fear is not from the evil there. The fear is from where? Now the soundtrack. Mute it. That's where the fear is. The problem. Otherwise, it's fun. Now, here also, the sight itself is caring to him. No audio. Right? He is watching only video muted. Imagine soundtrack also there for this now. Because he's not referring to any sound actually. He's only describing the visual. Visual itself is terrifying to it. When you are studying about fear, remember, fear by itself is not negative. Remember this. A lot of us think, fear itself is wrong. No emotion for that matter is negative on its own or positive by itself. On its own, they are neither negative nor positive. Then what makes it? If you take fear, for example, you have a thing called a necessary fear and unnecessary fear. Legitimate and illegitimate. Imagine if you are not having that legitimate fear. Imagine you don't care about the consequence of your actions. How you will be living? Imagine none of us were fearing the consequence of our driving style. The fear of punishment. That is why nowadays they are doing what? They're increasing the fine now. Earlier, the fine was what? 100 rupees. Now the fine is 1000 rupees. First time. Second time, it will become 2000. First time you jump a signal, it is 1000. Second time you jump a signal, what is it? 2000 rupees. Ayyo. The fear, the loss of the 2000 rupees is too much for you to handle. Therefore, you follow the rules. You will be punished and you will be penalized for certain actions. Fearing that punishment, fearing the pain that will be inflicted to us, we are not engaging in those actions. Correct, no? Imagine there is no fear at all in life. We all understand the man-made laws and the punishments that will be inflicted by government, society. Imagine you are not having any fear of universal punishment. Suddenly we started talking about, environmental. Everybody has become conscious of environment. Why? Why? Sustainability. That's what you have been talking for thousands of generations. The subject we are studying is called Sanatana Dharma. Dharma is what? Dharayati iti dharma. That which supports, that which sustains is called dharma. Sanatana means eternal. That which can support you eternally, that which can sustain eternally is the subject we are studying. For how long? What is actually sustainable is what? Now you need to control all this. Therefore, what do we do, sir? Stop using petrol. Use electricity. Okay, how do you create electricity? E-car. Okay, how much cost is it? Very cost effective. I understand, correct? Of course, it is cost effective, no doubt about it. But how do you generate electricity? What about exploiting there? Okay, how do you make the batteries? Lithium, no? Use. How do you get lithium? How do you extract it? From where you get it? Now, for another 200 years, nobody will talk about lithium problem. All of us today talking about petrol, no? Correct? Imagine the same discussion should have started by somebody 100 years back. Hmm? 1940. There is a movement. There's a fellow sitting and talking. Don't use petrol. Don't use coal. How dare? In 1940s, in 1950s, if someone would have started, UN, no? In UN meeting, how dare you people use petrol? Everyone would have said, get out. Today, how dare you use petrol looks like a greatness. Now you have started thinking of what? The fear of not being available. Fear of, I have to shell out so much of money to buy petrol, which I am not having. Therefore, if you see your life, all that you talk as revolutions and great thinking, everything is motivated by what? Fear of something. Remember, fear by itself is not negative. There are certain fears you are supposed to have. Why? Because if that fear is not there, your survival will become a question mark. That's why a child doesn't have the fear. Therefore, it goes and takes the knife and plays. Isn't it? The mother says what? She gets scared. She gets panicked. Now you can't tell that mother, why are you getting panicked? Relax. Allow the child to play with the knife. Not butter knife. The child will not know. It will play. Why? It has no fear. Of what? Of what would be the consequence. Now remember, anywhere you recognize the consequence of your actions and the consequence were to be causing pain, a painful consequence, you will experience fear. So don't say all fear is negative. A little understanding should be there about fear. These are all very basic understanding about fear before you go into the details of the study. Because from 24 onwards, there is no philosophy. It's only description. For all practical purpose, what we will do is 24 to 30, read. Gada, 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 you can read and go away. There's no message there. But what is interesting is the beginning itself, you have to comprehend what is the fear, from where that fear is coming from. The fear is coming from this source. Terrified. Says. Now it is the fear, remember, more than the desire for a good consequence, guiding you towards dharma. Dharma, again, I am referring it as that which sustains your personality, your life. What supports your life is dharma. What is driving you to follow dharma? And what is driving you to avoid adharma? Is the sense of fear. Now, if you remove the fear out of your life, there is no dharma, and you will not have any problem to follow any adharmic means. You don't have to. Righteousness, unrighteousness, values, nothing will be there after. Everything will become what? Matter of my convenience as on date. Example, environmentalist. Imagine all the discussion that we are talking today about environment would have been discussed in 1950s, 60s, in 1920s, 1930s, 40s. How that would be seen by everyone. At least those who talk about it today. Who's talking about it? I have used all the resources and I have secured myself. Now I say what? Hey, my God, don't use all that. That is dangerous to the globe. Who asked you to create it? At that point of time, did we bother about it? Why? Because we did not perceive the consequence of it. We are doing it, fine. But what is going to be the consequence of that? Now, to see that consequence, you need a deep, penetrative understanding. Like I always give this example. In 1902, Ramatirtha warned India to check its population. 1902. What would be the population at that time? About 25 crores? Maybe less than that. Because in 47, it was around 30. In 1902, how do we? 15 crore, 20 crore. That 20 crore population for the country of this size. Remember, at that time, it was including Pakistan, Bangladesh put together. He says it is, watch the population, dangerous one that is. No one registered. I thought, what's wrong with that guy? No one talked about him. Everybody talked about the poverty. Everybody talked about the things. Everyone talked about this. You know, you need to bring in that steam engine. You need to know how to make a shoe. You need to have that industrialization, this, that. 1001 things people spoke about. Not a single fellow focused on check that population, man. Dangerous position we are going into. We're exploding. This is called perceptive thinking. Those who had the capacity to see far ahead, and they will not be looking realistic, they will not be looking practical, they will not be appearing making any sense. Sir, you are talking about those days. What about today? Have you ever seen anyone talking about attachment as a dangerous problem for humanity? Nobody is listening. They are not able to see how this is going to be a singular reason for the destruction of human species. Are we realizing human species as endangered species? You're talking about sustainability, this one, that one. Now, here is a man who is talking about, hey, forget about the tigers, forget about the buffaloes, forget about this, insects, that butterfly. I'm not saying you should not be. Okay. Before you concentrate there, first of all, your survival itself is in trouble. Now, what you should do first? Is there anyone focusing on that? He's talking so negative. You dismiss that. You say, no, he's not talking. What is this problem? A singular reason is going to be the cause for the destruction. Are we able to understand that? We are all able to realize, there are in the net, you can check it out, how the world can get destroyed. Theories are there. And one asteroid comes and hits, boom, the whole world is destroyed to pieces. Another one fellow says, sun is losing all that energy. A point will come where sun will go, it will burn out completely, and then the world will get frozen, destroyed, or broken. We don't know what is going to happen. Something will happen. One thing for sure, it cannot survive. Whether it will freeze or it will go into pieces or it will burn, no clue. It will, one planet and the other planet hits each other and get destroyed. No clue we have, but something will happen. Another one is, let's say, nuclear bomb. And no one thinks attachment is going to be the cause for the destruction of the human species. Singular reason. We can't understand it. See, the moment you see the consequence of it, you will have fear. When you recognize how much of pain, suffering, misery your actions are going to be causing to yourself, it will trigger fear. The pain will trigger fear. Out of that fear, you will be functioning. Therefore, fear is not a negative one. Remember, fear is a necessary one for the survival. Don't say it's negative. What is the fear, sir? There are fundamentally 3 fears we have. All of us. The first one is the fear of pain. Many times you get the thought of committing suicide, but you don't attempt. Why? Psychology says every human being gets the thought of committing suicide at least 4 times a year in his life or in her life, average. But how many of us attempt? Why we are not attempting? Pain. You are scared of the pain that will cause. The fear of the pain is the first fear, remember. The fear of death, losing. Fear of losing See, the fear of death is not the fear of the unknown, as most of us believe it to be. Sir, I don't know what will happen after death. Therefore, I'm scared. It's not the unknown that's causing the fear. The fear of death is caused by the fact that you are going to be losing what is known, what is familiar. Fear of death is not the fear of unknown. The fear of unknown is different. Like you don't know what it is, therefore you are scared. But here it's not that. The fear of unknown is not the fear of death is caused by the fact that you know one thing. What is it, sir? All that is familiar to me, all that is known to me is going to be lost. Now you compare the fear, pain versus death. I keep increasing pain. A point will come where what you do? I rather die than to suffer this pain. Doesn't matter whatever the pain is. Pain could be triggered by material loss, pain could be triggered by physical, pain could be emotional, could be anything. Relation, some misery. Once the pain starts increasing, or after a point of time, you can't manage that pain. Therefore, you say what? You start wishing death. That is why we say fear of pain is superior even to fear of death. People think, fear of death. No. It's the fear of the pain is the reality. It's a dangerous one. And then we think fear of death means fear of unknown. No. Fear of unknown is a separate one. So what is that? In life, we do have these fears. Fear of pain, fear of death, and the fear of unknown. And then there is a causes for fear. What triggers fear? Essentially, if there are few factors. Primary factor, then secondary factors. These are all basic understanding you should have about fear, even though there is not directly connected to the Gita verses here. With this understanding, you should read the verse. That's why I'm going into this detail. Another aspect that you need to remember about fear is there are causes for it. What are the causes for it, sir? There are two causes, two types. One is a primary cause, another one is a secondary cause. The primary cause for your fear is ignorance. That ignorance produces secondary roots. Like the tree has no primary root and a secondary root, like that. The primary root for fear is ignorance. Which produces the secondary root of otherness, produces selfishness, produces attachment, produces destructive tendency, all that. So what is the cause of fear, sir? Essentially, it is ignorance. Ignorance of what? The fundamental ignorance of what is your essential nature. So long as you are living your life in this identity crisis of not knowing what is my nature, you will have fear in life. You can't escape. And then this ignorance is not going to keep quiet. As I don't know what is my nature. It will not be staying only as I don't know what I am, who I am. It will start producing other things. What are the side effects of that? Furtherance of it, it starts producing otherness. You're different from me. Selfishness, attachment, destructive tendency. So primary root, ignorance. Secondary roots, otherness, selfishness. This side, I'm just saying, just for you to imagine, that's about it. There's no exact, positioning like that. Attachment and destructive tendencies. Violence. A violent mind will always have that fear. So fear has many roots. Now, in Arjuna's case, what is that? What is the root? What is the direction of his fear is moving? He is getting scared. Why? Because essentially he is ignorant about his nature. Two, that ignorance of his is expressing here as otherness. Why? He is standing apart from that cosmic form and seeing that form. He has not become one with that form. If he has merged himself with that form, there is no otherness, there is no fear. Why he is not able to merge himself with that is because essentially he has not understood that cosmic form that he is seeing is not Krishna's cosmic form. It's not Krishna. It is my own self. Like Ram Tirtha starting his lectures, my own self in the form of ladies and gentlemen. I had a great desire to start like that actually. Like Vivekananda started, sisters and brothers of America. Now start. I prefer this slightly better than my own self in the form of ladies and gentlemen. It will be looking, too gross. It will be reducing Ram Tirtha's stature. Therefore, I said, no, you can't do like that. But then, it's amazing standard. How can you have any fear? His oneness is there. Why he is not able to see that oneness with that form is because essentially he is ignorant. What is his ignorance? He is thinking it is Krishna's Vishwarupa. It is essentially my Vishwarupa. Then there will not be fear. Unfortunately, he is not having. So here you discount what is it, sir? In this case, this is not the fear caused by selfishness, nor caused by attachment, nor the destructive tendency. But still he is experiencing fear. Why? Because of that otherness that he is seeing here. See you in the next class.